This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
At Designer Shoe Warehouse, we believe that shoes are an important part of, well, everything.
From first steps to first dates, from all-nighters to all-time personal bests.
From building pillow forts to building a life.
For all the big and small moments that make up your whole world, DSW is there. And we've got just the shoes. Find a shoe for every you from brands you love at brag-worthy prices at your DSW store or DSW.com.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
We've got your shot to win tickets to Summer of Loud 2025. It takes place Friday, July 11th at the Somerset Amphitheater. See performances from Beartooth, I Prevail, Parkway Drive, and more. Hell yeah. Head over our contest page to see how you can win today, KFAN.com, keyword contest.
Ladies and gentlemen, class is in session. His name is Trent Tucker. He is the professor of hoopology. All rise. The Timberwolves are up 3-1 on the Warriors. Jason Tatum may have blown his Achilles. SGA and Joker tied at 2. They play again tonight. Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers are stunning the Cleveland Cavaliers, up 3-1 in that series. And the beat goes on at FM 100.3 KFAN. Here comes the professor after between segments, just absolutely getting peppered by the fill-in producer Brett Blakemore for your hockey knowledge, like updates on the kids, how they're playing, and how their hockey days and careers and lives are advancing. The fact that hockey in the state of hockey is the state of practice, the state of travel, the state of tournaments, the state of everything every day. You as a dad, you proudly are involved in that. But on behalf of 9 to Noon Productions here at your audio leader, KFAN, I'd like to apologize on behalf of the radio show for the fill-in producer hitting you with everything from fourth line Toronto Maple Leafs conversation to like the lineage and history of Alexander Ovechkin and exactly how he became that good, right?
Exactly. That's what we do. Instead of in the breaks during In the Zone talking about basketball or football, we just talk hockey the whole time, and Sinekin rolls his eyes.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you? How much do you enjoy watching hockey on television?
I enjoy it a great deal. It's always nicer to be in the arena to watch it because you can really feel the vibe and the energy. But, there's nothing like playoff hockey. The game is fast, it's intense, and the best of the best is out there going head to head. And if you get a high goalie, he can carry you all the way to a Stanley Cup championship.
Now, I posed this question earlier, a little bit for Brett, a lot for the scribe. But this is the state of hockey. It's the self-proclaimed state of hockey, but it's the state of hockey. Friend, you would know that better than anybody because your kids have been playing since what, age 4?
Yeah.
4 or 5, around there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Trent also is an NBA champion, having won one with Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. So he knows his way around a court, knows his way around a rink. But Minnesota, you're from Michigan,
yes,
by way of Chicago / New York, and you landed here after playing at the University of Minnesota collegiately. Yours truly, I'm from Washington D.C., moved here full time in '98, so we're not we're not the, quote, one of us, even though we've been here long enough to be one of us.
Right.
But we get the depth of the hockey fandom and, in a habit state, the routines of hockey people. It's like, they may have played in college or in high school, but, now they're working jobs in their mid-20s, their early 30s. And it's like, let's get the hockey guys together on Thursday night and go tip some back and watch Carolina play somebody and, then go home, hopefully not 0.8. So it's a very tightly knit group. If the Minnesota Timberwolves are the answer, if they're the team that brings a championship to this state, the first one in nearly 3.5 decades, how do you think the state of hockey would embrace that?
Tremendously, because basketball has grown so much in this state, and there's so many good young basketball players and teams around the state now where the enthusiasm is very high for the game. And if the Wolves are able to bring a championship, to this city and to this state, it would be fantastic.
You can't rule it out, can you?
No, you can't. I mean, when you, as a city, if you are lucky enough to have a team, whether it's hockey, baseball, basketball, or football, when you get into the extra season, I like to call it playoff time, and your team is good enough to contend, and they're making that deep playoff run, nothing galvanizes a city or a community like a sports team. And right now, the Wolves are bringing this city together because they're on this run once again.
And again, we're talking about all the way back to the Twins in 1991, and not to put the proverbial cart in front of the metaphorical horse, because you still got to win one in this series. Then you got to beat somebody tough in the next series. Then you got to beat somebody in the NBA Finals. But it's, I mean, you know this better than anybody, man, but you played with Michael Jordan. So it's like whether the Knicks, sustained a game one injury to Patrick Ewing or John Starks or somebody, Mark Jackson, somebody very important to them, and then they lost them, and people would be like, well, yes, nice effort winning that series, but, it probably would have been tougher with Patrick or with Starks or whomever.
Gotcha.
When you have Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and the players that you guys had, I mean, bring them all. I mean, you can dust off Truck Robinson if you want and get him in shape, and we're still going to beat you. It was just the mindset. So you can't control what's in front of you. You just got to take it and you got to beat it, which is what the Wolves are doing with the Curry-less Golden State Warriors. But then in the game before that, you see Jason Tatum go down, and he can't put weight on his right foot. It looked like an Achilles.
It looks like that. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, the way he was acting on the court, and the players are like this, man. They know when it's curtains.
When it's bad.
When it's bad. So Jason knew it was bad.
Yeah.
Now, can they win an NBA championship without Jason Tatum? Maybe. Probably not. They're down 3-1 to the Knicks. Shoot, they're not even going to win this series. So, now Tatum's hurt. And Cleveland, with those nice bigs, Allen and Mobley and Donovan Mitchell, messed up his ankle. The Nuggets are still working with an interim coach, and David Adelman's super smart guy. I remember him when he was here. And Rick's son, he should get the head coaching job for Denver, in my opinion. He's done such a wonderful job in an awkward situation, but he's still an interim coach. OKC, well, that has the potential to be a monster. I mean, when they put the pedal to the metal, they beat you by 50, but they don't always do it.
Right.
So see what I'm saying here? Things are just the pieces are falling into place.
I hear you.
For good things to happen here.
I hear you. And what good teams do, they take advantage of situations. The Golden State Warriors have won 4 NBA championships, but during their run, they had some good fortunes of playing some of the top teams when their best players were injured as well. And the Wolves right now, they have to have the mindset that we have to put this team away tomorrow night. We can't come out lackadaisical. We have to send an early message that this thing is all over, because the longer you play, something bad things can happen, or somebody returns, and then you find yourself, on the outside looking in. And for the Boston Celtics, that's why you cannot afford to give away games.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And my estimation with Boston and New York, even though the Knicks are up 3-1, and I'm pulling for the Knicks to win, because I'm a little biased about being a part of the Knicks. And once you're a Knick, you're always a Knick, right?
Well, if the Wolves and Knicks meet in the NBA Finals, I mean, you're going to need medication.
But Boston should be up 3-1,
Yes.
or this thing should be all over.
Right.
Because you can't be up by 15-plus points in every game and then lose 3 out of 4.
Yeah, you can't, and you can't lose 2 at home.
And you just can't give games away. And that's why the Wolves are doing the right thing by making sure that they're not giving games away to Golden State when you are clearly the better basketball team.
I know you're not a big betting guy, but you get odds. The Oklahoma City Thunder, 2-2 with Denver, got a game tonight, 8:40. They're even money favorites to win the NBA championship. All right, so Double T puts up 100 on OKC. They win the title. Double T scoops 200.
Yep.
Timberwolves are 5.5 to 1. So you put up 100. If you win, you scoop 650. They're the second favorite. The Timberwolves have passed everybody and become the second favorite to win the NBA championship at 5.5 to 1. What do you think of that?
Well, I think the consistent play of Julius Randle, has elevated, the thought process of many who believes that this team now will have a chance to win.
Right.
There's no guarantee that they're going to win, but when you look at all the teams who are left contending and fighting for a championship, the Wolves are right there in the mix.
Now, I can't remember or recall what your take was on In the Zone with Double T and Greg Popovich each and every Saturday at 8 a.m. with Dave Seneca. With this trade, Karl Anthony Towns, Julius, and Dante DiVincenzo. Were you a fan of it when it took place? And now forget that, because that's water under the proverbial bridge. Right now, who would you rather have? Karl Anthony Towns or Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo?
I don't know which one I would rather have. What I would say that it's a different basketball team compared to a year ago. And right now, even being different, you're still on the same course of getting to where you got to last year.
Amen.
Karl Anthony Towns being healthy for a large portion of the season a year ago was a major factor in the Wolves getting to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Now that Julius Randle has figured things out along with the coaching staff, he and Anthony Edwards, they have put this team in a situation to get back to a spot where they were a year ago. So I don't think you can compare. I don't think it's fair to say, which one would you rather have at this stage?
Right.
Because by making the trade, you're on the same track to get back to where you were a year ago.
Well, when class is in session with the professor of hoopology, and that would be right now, I want to sit in the front row because I want to get all that knowledge and I want to get it right from the heart. So I'm going to be the last one to argue with the professor and have him throw the teacher's apple right at my head. Or knock me upside the head with that ring that he won with Michael Jordan. However, I don't think, like I said earlier in the show, if Julius Randle is hitting 3-pointers, the rest of the league is in trouble because that's not a strength of his. He's good at it, but, there's so many other strengths that he has. So if Julius is hitting threes, well, then Golden State's done, and the next one's in trouble. But I think the separator here is you could never, ever run offense through Karl Anthony Towns. And when I say run offense, I mean as the point.
No.
Where like with what Kerr's done with Draymond for years, awesome. Draymond can do it. You can do it with Julius Randle. You can get him top of the key and let him run the offense because his ball handling skills are so good. I think that's the separator right there between like him and Karl Anthony Towns.
Well, it's a different approach on how you run your offense. You have different players, and it took the Wolves some time to figure out how to use Julius Randle. But Karl Anthony Towns, you could run your offense to him on the low post.
Yeah.
Because when he's playing with his back to the basket, he's going to come in the double team, and also it's going to free up open shooters on the outside as well. So what the Wolves have been able to do by making this trade, it's a different team, but they are still able maybe to get to the same spot.
Yeah.
So the trade has been successful for either the New York Knicks, who has a chance now to get back to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in, 25-plus years?
Yeah.
And they had never gotten to the Eastern Conference Finals in 25-plus years. And with Julius Randle being hurt last year, they couldn't get there. So that's why they made the trade. So when the trade was made, the question was that, wow, why did the Wolves do this? Why not run it back for another year? Because we saw what we saw with Karl Anthony Towns being healthy. We got to the Western Conference Finals. At the start of the year, we just didn't know how Julius Randle was going to fit in. I believe when he went down with the injury, it gave him a chance to reflect on the team differently, but also it gave Chris Finch and his coaching a chance to adjust to Julius Randle as well as a basketball player and figure out how to use him to be effective inside of this offense. And so far, good things are working out of the playoff time.
Well, I mean, you're an elite NBA mind, because when Julius Randle came back, they played the Phoenix Suns. I think it was on a Sunday, and they beat them, and they looked really good. And after the game, Leah B. Olson, I believe, was the one chatting with Julius about your off time. And he said more elaborately than what you said, just more elongated, is I got a chance to sit back, go to self-loathing. I hated it for 2 days, and I was in a really bad spot. Maybe you've been there too, overcoming an injury. But once I got through that, I was able to watch it in a way where I could figure out, I don't really need to be there. I don't really need to do that. Ant likes to do that, and I haven't noticed that. So you're right. I mean, he was able to step back, take a snapshot of it, and Anthony Edwards said it after the game last night. Ever since he came back, the whole thing's been different because of how they're playing together.
Right, and you have to figure things out, and sometimes players have to take a self-evaluation of themselves to say, okay, what can I do differently to make my team better? But coaches also have to adapt. And they say, well, I have a game plan I want to play. Karl Anthony Towns played this way. We played this way under Karl. We got to the Western Conference Finals. Maybe I don't want to change.
Yeah.
But coaches can be stubborn. But if you want to have success, especially in this business, you have to be able to make adjustments. And kudos to Chris Finch and his coaching staff for being able to make those adjustments. And now they're using Julius Randle in positions where he can be successful and help the team win. His confidence is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
As good as Anthony Edwards has been throughout this playoffs, but the most consistent guy has been Julius Randle.
DiVincenzo, I've been disappointed in him. And we chat with Finch weekly on the radio show. And, I'm not going to voice it that tersely, but he'll bring up things that Dante does. He's right. I mean, but when I saw Dante in the playoffs last year against Indianapolis, I mean, he was a poor man's Steph Curry. He's hitting from 25, scoring like 24 a game. Now, Julius was down. I think Brunson was hurt too.
Yeah, Julius wasn't playing, so yeah.
Right.
They gave him more time and more space.
Well, he's playing half the game now. And I think I just need to shed the thought that he's a lights-out three-point shooter and shoots them 10 times a game and hits like 6, because that just ain't him. And Finch will point out, well, yeah, he only scored X amount of points, but did you see all the deflections? He got his hand on so many passes, and he does a lot of stuff like that. I think to get to the NBA Finals, they're going to need more, because if they hook OKC, he's going to be their version of Alex Caruso. And Caruso's rock solid as a defensive player, super smart, gets to the basket as much, if not more, than Dante. But it's last night in the second half, DiVincenzo, his ball handling skills are so good. He got out of trouble 2 times and then found Anthony in stride to get him good shots. And I'm like, bam, that's his role right there, right?
Well,
make others better.
Well, the Wolves are asking him to play a different brand of basketball compared to the Knicks. And when Julius Randle went down, they needed him to be more involved in the offense. They needed him to score and shoot more. With Minnesota, they don't need him to do that. He has to find his spots and pick his time to take his three-point shots. When he goes searching for his offense, that's a bad thing for the Wolves. They don't need for him to search for his offense. In this system, I believe they need him to be a good defensive player when he comes in off the bench. If he's going to play the point guard position here and there, make sure you run the offense well. Don't turn the basketball over. And then knock down the open three-point shots. It's because you have guys on this team this year, that can demand the double team. They're willing passers. And when those open shots are there, you have to step in and knock those shots down. You don't have to prove to us right now that you can play one-on-one basketball. We don't need for you to do that. We have a certain role that we need for you to play to help us win.
The best player on the team is Anthony Edwards. The second best player probably overall is Julius Randle. Fair to say, right?
I agree.
Okay. But with that known 1 and 1A, it's a stretch a little bit to say Jaden McDaniels is the most important guy on the team. I mean, he's as important as those two.
Oh, for sure. I agree.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, like last night was so frustrating with Jaden in the first half. He had one rebound. You know, I think it was the second half. He just basically punched Buddy Hield or somebody. He got so frustrated because Buddy caught him with a chicken wing up by half court. That was uncalled. So, you know, he went and put himself in a compromising position to get a flagrant foul, which is not preferred anytime, but specifically this time. Second half, man, he had 12 rebounds. 12 rebounds in the second half. His defense in the third quarter, I mean, it was a cross between Rajah Bell and T.R. Dunn. It was Bruce Bowen on the side. So he's so important, but he can be so inconsistent.
Well, you know, players have to understand what value do I bring to the team. And maybe I'm not heavily involved in the offense tonight is because some other guys have it going. So let me do other things to help the team win. I take you back to Chicago.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, we know they were 1A and 1B, as you say. Okay?
Wait, you played with Steve Kerr, right?
I didn't play with Steve Kerr.
Oh, you played with Paxson.
B.J. Armstrong.
B.J. Armstrong, got you.
Okay, now, B.J. Armstrong, after Michael Jordan left, becomes an all-star. But on that team with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, we didn't need B.J. Armstrong to be an all-star. We needed B.J. Armstrong to be a good point guard, a good defender, and a guy that could knock down open shots. And once players identify and understand what their roles are on teams that have a chance to make deep playoff runs, that's when you become successful, not only as a team, but as a player as well.
The voice of Trent Tucker, he's the professor of hoopology. We're discussing the Red Hot Hal up 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors Game 4 tomorrow evening. It's a closing time at Target Center for the Golden State Warriors, an opportunity for the Timberwolves to dispatch Jimmy Butler, Steve Kerr, and the Golden State Warriors shortly after 8:30 tomorrow night. More conversation on that and much more with the professor around the corner because class is in session. But first,
the cash thing, the fan and bigdeck.com. I want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com and enter the keyword win. The keyword win, KFAN.com.
Hi, this is Debbie, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep. I'm here to help you with everything from selecting the perfect window treatment to...
Well, I've got a complicated project.
No problem. We make the complex simple. And I can even help schedule a professional measure and install.
I didn't realize you did that.
Yeah. We can also send you samples, fast and free.
Wow. I mean, I always thought I needed a designer to come to my home, but scheduling's always a nightmare.
Not with Blinds.com. We're on your schedule, and there's no haggling, no pressure, no hidden fees either.
I just might have to do more.
Oh, okay. Whatever you need. How about you tell me what you had in mind?
Okay, then. So the first room we're looking at is for guests coming over.
Blinds.com has covered over 25 million windows, all backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop Blinds.com now and get up to 50% off with minimum purchase. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hey, friend. I know how it feels. Waking up exhausted after multiple trips to the bathroom and feeling embarrassed by sudden leaks. I used to be constantly on edge, searching for a restroom whenever I was out. Then I discovered Better Woman. I was skeptical at first, but 2 months in, everything changed. I experienced improved bladder control, no more heart-stopping moments when I laugh or sneeze, less urge to go, deeper and more restful sleep. I finally felt like myself again, confident and in control. Better Woman is natural, effective, and trusted by women for over 25 years. Ready to take back your control? Head over to BeBetterNow.com to order your supply today. That's BeBetterNow.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed. Individual results may vary.
Keyword win. Get ready to kick off the 2025 season with your 2024 UFA champion Minnesota Wind Chill. Catch the game with our own Justin Guards Saturday, May 17th at Seafoam Stadium. The first 1,000 fans receiving Wind Chill 2024 UFA Championship t-shirts. Get all the details today, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
It's time to drop the puck!
I shared this story yesterday, Professor, with Pat Micheletti, who's on the mural at Mariucci's Hockey Immortality. Don't add him. But it's sports fans can, you like on social media, where I know you're not on Twitter, probably don't look at it that much. But it was a lot of, we're up 20-22, fourth quarter. I'm a Minnesota sports fan. Do I go to bed? Because then I run the fear of waking up and my team lost. So there was a lot of that last night, which reminded me of there's how much people can care about their teams.
Yes.
And that's kind of a Minnesota mantra when the core four of the pro sports teams here, I mean, we have no title since the Twins in 1991. So there's going to be lamenting. Now, I was in Colorado over the weekend for the graduation of my daughter, Coley. She graduated from the University of Colorado at Boulder, and I was there Wednesday through Sunday. And Saturday night, we're out to dinner with Friday night, we're out to dinner with a family of a friend of hers in downtown Boulder, and they've had Colorado Avalanche season tickets since Joe Sakic, Adam Foote, Peter Forsberg, Patrick Waugh, the Dogs.
Yeah.
Like first year. And they love that team. Like I would talk about the Vikings, you would talk about the Knicks or the Bulls from back in the day, stuff like that. And the Avalanche have won the Stanley Cup of late, but it still doesn't mean that things don't linger with fans when they just take a hard L. And I had forgotten this when they told me. But Mikko Rantanen, who plays for the Dallas Stars. All right, now the Stars, props to the Stars. It kind of goes into our basketball conversation earlier. They come into the postseason, and is it Heiskanen or Heiskanen?
I say Heiskanen.
And without Heiskanen, and then they lose Jason Robertson. Okay, maybe their best overall player. Yep. They're going to be without him in that first series against Colorado. No whining, no complaining. Go out and win it in 7. But in the 7th game, these Avalanche fans had to watch their former player, Rantanen, score not only a hat trick, but bounce them out of the postseason. Yep. Against his former team, where just a couple of months previously, they were in Ball Arena rooting for him. One of them has a Rantanen jersey, and he didn't want to leave, supposedly. Right. So it's that one who bounces that team, and they were just, man, I felt like I had to bring my therapeutic Davenport of love. I almost had FedEx, like, can you get this thing here in like 5 hours? These people need it. They're so sad, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you have, guys like, Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, and like you said, it's a team that is not too far removed from winning the Stanley Cup championship, and all of a sudden you lose a key player, a guy who was so important to that run, and all of a sudden now he's the guy that bounces you out of the first round of the playoffs. That's hard for a lot of fans to take.
You hate's a strong word, and it's not a word that you or I use frequently, but from knowing you for about a quarter century through the great Dark Star, may God rest his soul, I always have sensed you hate the who's greater and why, Jordan or LeBron James conversation, right? Yeah, okay. Well, but I've been meaning to ask you this for a little while, okay? Because I know your answer is MJ. You played with MJ, and you lay out a wonderful champion. It's what's all about. Championships. How many does he have? Okay, I got it. So that we could start at a baseline there. But the longer LeBron plays and plays at this 18-point, 7 assists, 7.5 rebounds, playing a lot of minutes, I mean, you can't define. It's an undefinable answer with the conversation. But I mean, the level of respect for LeBron, at least from my standpoint, because that take my talents to my South Beach thing. I'm out on that, but nevertheless, he's a wonderful, wonderful player. But does LeBron's longevity kind of skew the conversation a little bit?
I don't think so, but I would say this, that
you hate this conversation.
No, because I'm a big fan of LeBron James, and when he came into the league, he's one of the best talents to ever play at this level. To me, and is Michael Jordan, and then there's everybody else.
Right.
And my top 3 all-time greatest players in the game, and I know I would get some arguments from a lot of people who I
don't think I've ever heard you share this.
Michael Jordan is 1, LeBron James is 2, and Magic Johnson is number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic, 6'8" point guard.
Well, and people say, well, what about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? What about Wilt Chamberlain? What about Kobe Bryant? I said, you could easily put those guys in those spots as well.
Why you got to leave Larry Bird out?
Larry Bird.
Hey.
You could use, there was so many other great players that, you Dr. J.
Yeah.
But to me, Michael he's a separator. And when I got into the league, there were so many great players. Dr. J, Mose Malone, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. I remember his rookie year in an exhibition game we played against him. And he went to the basket and dunked the ball. And I was like, that's different.
Yeah.
That's different. I said, that right there is different. I mean, I've seen a whole lot of great players. I played against a lot of great players. I played with some great players. I said, but that right there is different.
Yeah. Hey, he's the most competitive person you've ever met, right?
Yeah.
The reason I bring it up
one of them.
is because when you would have the Trent Tucker golf and poker tournament back in the day, well, the Texas Hold'em part of it would be at Canterbury Park.
Right.
Where the people come to play and where I call races every day in the summer. So therefore, Double T graciously invited me into the Texas Hold'em tournament. I think it was Charles Oakley who check raised me and bumped me out. That's okay. I can sit back and watch Michael Jordan he's advanced to the final 10.
Yep.
Say we started with 100 or 150. He advanced, of course he did, to the final table where he's not getting any money. If he wins it, he's giving it to the Trent Tucker Foundation or whatever. But he was so focused. He was sweating.
Oh,
he had perspiration. He had to take off his coat when he was at that final table, and it got down to the final 2. And he check raised some guy from Fridley from here to Timbuktu, and he won the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you have to win everything? Good Lord.
That's his mentality. And he is a competitor. And you don't get to that level without having that drive and that edge. And he was the same. He was that way in practice every day. And the beauty of Michael Jordan is this. He was never going to ask us to be him. He just said, I need for you guys to work as hard as I do at your craft and the role that you are supposed to play on this team so that we can have a chance to win a championship.
Do you see any Michael Jordan in Anthony Edwards with the way he plays?
You see some.
And, well, he's also, when you listen to these press conferences, he's also this year mostly, but last year too, starting to come out and say, or Finch will say it about him. Well, actually, Anthony did all the talking at halftime. And, he reiterated that Anthony would say to the team last night, at last check, you don't win a series by winning 2 games. And he was like getting into people about that. And Anthony will bring it back to himself saying, I got to be better here. But hey, so he's kind of getting that verbal leadership to him, man.
Right. And he knows that even though he's only 23 years of age, but this is year 5, I think it is for him. And he's at that stage where he has to have a veteran mindset. And this team is only going to go as far as Anthony Edwards can carry them. He has to be in tune physically and mentally just about every night, especially at this time of the year, if he wants to have a chance to win a championship. It starts with him. When he comes out with the wrong mindset, it tears the team apart. We saw that in game 1. He was not there mentally. He wasn't engaged.
Right.
And the Golden State Warriors were able to take full advantage of unenthused, I would say, for a certain night of Anthony Edwards not being there.
100%.
But when he's ready to go, he's as good as anybody in the game.
All right, now you played with Patrick Ewing. Would he be the best big man with whom you ever played?
I would say yes.
Yeah, you got Bill Cartwright in there. So what I'm talking about here is you got Ewing, you got Bill Cartwright, 7-footer. Let's think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We can go old school Chicago too with Artis Gilmore.
Moses Malone.
Moses Malone was a center, but undersized, like Wes Unseld. Here's the point. Have you ever seen, with the frequency this happens, players come steaming into the key looking to dunk, lay up, or something, and there's Rudy, and they just stop, and then they come back out, or they have to pass. I've never seen that with I mean, if it's Walker Kessler, they're dunking on him 5 times, or at least trying. But like with Rudy, they just, even Butler, they just stop and come back out. You ever seen that?
Yeah, I mean, because that's a rim protector, and you need that guy in the hole. Let's say when the latter part of the 80s into the 90s, you had Akeem Olajuwon, you had Patrick Ewing, you had David Robinson. All of a sudden, here comes Alonzo Mourning, Shaquille O'Neal, Dikembe Mutombo. So when you turned that corner and you saw that guy who was 7 feet tall, known to be a shot blocker, he made you think twice about trying to get to the rim. And that's why now we all see making that trade for Rudy Gobert this is why they made it, because they needed somebody that could protect the basket.
Yeah, and the Minnesota fan base, at least those who think about the Timberwolves a fair amount, they learned a lesson because it was so loud after that Gobert deal, and you're giving away all these picks, and you have 4 picks in the next 8 years or whatever. Well, it's that conversation had to stop because of how last year worked out with Rudy and so on. And it wasn't super loud because the Randall Edwards, just the whole situation was wonky for a little while. And it didn't get it got loud, but it didn't get as loud as it did with that Gobert deal, because hopefully they've learned that it just doesn't click like that.
No, and also Karl Anthony Towns was hurt for 50 plus games. When they made the trade for Rudy Gobert, they weren't getting a guy who was going to play with his back to the basket. The year before, they said, hey, if we can find a rim protector, a shot blocker, and a rebounder to play alongside Karl Anthony Towns, that's going to free him up to do more things on the offensive end. That's going to hopefully keep him out of foul trouble. Now you go out and make a trade and get the best guy in the NBA that can do the things that you are asking somebody to do to come to your team and help them win. Rudy's first year, Karl Anthony Towns gets hurt. Second year, Karl Anthony Towns stays healthy for a large portion of the season, and now Rudy Gobert can do the things that you brought him in to do. Now Rudy Gobert is a major piece to what this team is trying to do once again, is because he has the ability, to protect the basket. So he can allow his perimeter players now to extend their defense and put more pressure in playing the passing lanes, because they know if they get beat, they got that guy standing behind them to protect the basket.
Thank you, Professor. Have a good day.
Anytime, Paul.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
And Tucker.
Fan.
All righty. Thank you very much for the good times today at FM 100.3 KFAN. Thank you, Brett Blakemore, for the Carlos Santana winning montage. And thank you most of all for listening to 9 to Noon. Might do some more T-Wolves talkbacks tomorrow, but tomorrow's a big day for the Minnesota Timberwolves. It is Game 5 of the second-round series against the Warriors, and quite honestly, it should be closing time for the Dubs. We'll chat about that and more tomorrow when we rise and shine at 9 here at FM 100.3 KFAN, your audio home for all that is funky and fun.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Spring is here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
Do you own a business that's ready to thrive? It's time to let Intuit QuickBooks take things like unpaid invoices and tracking expenses off your plate so you can take things to the next level. Intuit QuickBooks is an all-in-one business platform that can help with those day-to-day tasks like invoicing and expenses. Manage and grow your business all in one place. Intuit QuickBooks, your way to money. Money movement services are provided by Intuit Payments, Inc., licensed as a money transmitter by the New York State Department of Financial Services.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.